Coming up on First at 4, we'll have the status of a bill in Frankfurt that would ban tobacco use on school campuses. And President Trump says the U.S. is issuing an emergency order grounding all Boeing 737 MAX 8 and MAX 9 aircraft.
And showers and storms will be the common story for your Thursday. A look ahead now on First at 4.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYNT Mountain News First at 4.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Hensley. First at 4, a bill that would ban tobacco use on school campuses is moving through the legislature. House Bill 11 passed the full House yesterday. Some school officials we talked to say the law is needed to curb a new type of problem they are running into. WYNT's Phil Pendleton has more.
The superintendent of Williamsburg City Schools says that tobacco use is banned on this campus, but he says he knows that kids are finding ways around that. He says the big problem now is vaping.
For the first time in a long time, many years, we're starting to see an uptick in tobacco use among teens. And we know that Kentucky has a real tobacco-related illness problem.
The sponsor of House Bill 11 says they've seen a huge explosion in e-cigarettes and vaping. And what's even more alarming is the fact that these kids are using these products that health officials say are just as dangerous as regular cigarettes at a very young age. Eamon Couch is the superintendent of Williamsburg City Schools. He says there's some strict consequences for anyone vaping or using any kind of tobacco, but he knows that the kids are using e-cigarettes.
Yeah, because it's discreet. You know, if you light up a cigarette, you're going to be able to instantly smell it and see it. But with the vape, it's much more discreet, and you can get your hands on it much easier.
House Bill 11 did pass the House yesterday by an overwhelming majority, 85-11. It'll now move through the Senate, but with only a couple of days left in this year's General Assembly, its fate is not certain. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, now back to you.
The sponsor told us today that similar bills have found favor in the Senate and is hopeful it will pass that chamber. Well, the clock is ticking down for lawmakers in Frankfurt. There are only 3 working days left in the 2019 legislative session. Several major issues remain on the table. Hillary Thornton is at the state capitol with the latest.
Well, lawmakers know the clock is ticking down, and so do the hundreds of teachers gathered once again here at the state capitol, keeping a close eye on everything happening in these final days. The main priority for the House, according to Floor Leader Representative Bam Carney, is the tax cleanup bill, which a free conference committee just finalized this morning. One big thing it does is make some adjustments to fix the so-called unintended consequences to nonprofits in last year's tax reform. Well, teachers obviously are watching some education-related bills, including one that would give tax credits for donations towards private school scholarships. Representative Carney sponsoring that bill, saying it looks very unlikely to pass this session. Also, they are watching House Bill 525, which would reorganize the nomination and election process for the Teachers Retirement Board. The floor leader not planning to call that one today.
Anything could happen, but it's one that we probably we think needs some more work. We want to make sure we bring in some more fiduciary experience for that board. So again, not saying that anything couldn't happen tomorrow or on the last day. Odds are that that'll be something that we look at over the interim.
I think if the votes were there to pass it, it had already been called, to be very honest with you. So I believe 525 is dead. Again, I've been around this process a long time. You know, like Lazarus, things can come back to life, you know.
Lawmakers will meet here again tomorrow before breaking for the veto period. For now, at the state capitol, Hillary Thornton, WKYT.
Another warm day across eastern Kentucky. Temperatures for some in the 70s, while others are still sitting in the upper 60s. Let's take a look at some of the cameras. You'll notice cloud cover, the big story, even though temperatures are warm there in Whitesburg. Of course, the National Weather Service camera, we have hit 70 now in Jackson, and you continue to look at those clouds sticking around with a few isolated showers now working through Wayne County and also portions to the north and northeast. Look at at the temperatures because we're at 73 in Jackson, 76 in Hazard with 70 in Richmond, and those upper 60s continue again the Cumberland Valley with 68 in London and 66 there in Whitley County. Of course, wind's going to be rocking as this cold front works through. Wind advisory is out now until 8 o'clock for a good chunk of our area, ranging from Rowan County all the way down to Wayne County and as far as really as the I-75 corridor there to the east. So once again, wind advisory out for 45 to 50 plus mile per hour wind gust as we head through your Thursday. Right now, those winds cranking out of the south, allowing temperatures to increase pretty quickly. Notice 15 miles per hour for the wind speed right now in Whitley County. Steve, those winds going to be rocking as we head into your Thursday. The cold front bringing a few strong storms too. All those details coming up in a few short minutes.
All right, Andrew, thank you very much. We have learned that President Trump will issue an emergency order grounding all Boeing 737 MAX 8 and 9 aircrafts. Several countries have already done that following Sunday's deadly crash in Ethiopia. Some pilots, according to a federal database, have anonymously reported issues with the plane while flying over the U.S. In complaints, there were reports of the plane's nose briefly being forced down because of a problem with the jet's autopilot feature. No crashes or injuries were reported in those incidents. The pilots and their airlines were not identified, but only 2 U.S. carriers currently fly the 737 MAX 8, American Airlines and Southwest. It's been 1 year since Pikeville police officer Scotty Hamilton was shot and killed in the line of duty. Hamilton was on patrol with a state trooper in the Hurricane Creek area. One 10-year-old in Florida runs to honor fallen officers. Yesterday, Zachariah Cartledge dedicated 1 mile of his run to Officer Hamilton. He says everyone should find something they are passionate about and dedicate that to fallen first responders.
If you want to honor police officers, that's what I would say. Just to honor them in a correct way and a respectful way, and just do what you love to honor them.
Later tonight, we'll hear more from Zachariah and how he's raised more than $32,000 for fallen officers this year. An Iowa state trooper is being praised for stopping a possible attack at Google's headquarters. 30-year-old Kyle Long is accused of threatening to hurt employees after his YouTube channel was taken down. An officer suspected he may have been up to something when they started talking while Long was waiting to get his car towed out of a ditch. This is, you just saw dash cam video from March 8th. Long told State Trooper Ryan Zanor that he was heading from Maine to Mountain View, California to speak with Google executives.
Businessman at Google headquarters. Where's all your luggage and stuff? Just this is it.
The officer called California police to warn them that Long was on his way. He was intercepted and taken into custody before making it to Google's headquarters. Police in California said Long had 3 baseball bats in his car and directions to the office. He's being held on a $25,000 bond. We've learned the name of the man killed in a stabbing yesterday in Pike County. Police tell us 74-year-old Charles Albert Ratliff of Elkhorn City died from his wounds. The stabbing happened in the Regina community. Court documents reveal Michael Yates was arrested last night in connection with the stabbing. He is charged with murder. Police tell us they believe Yates and Ratliff knew each other. We hope to have more on this story coming up tonight at 6. Paul Manafort will be serving more time in prison. A federal judge in Washington ordered Manafort to serve an additional 43 months in prison on charges of conspiracy and witness tampering. Those charges are in connection to his work lobbying for politicians in Ukraine. The sentence is on top of the 47-month sentence he received in federal court in Virginia last week. In all, the former Trump campaign chairman's full sentence is for 7.5 years, although he will likely get credit for time served. But legal troubles for Manafort are not over yet. Shortly after his federal sentence, Manafort was indicted in New York on allegations of mortgage fraud. The most senior Catholic cleric ever to be convicted of child sexual abuse is headed to prison in Australia. A judge sentenced Cardinal George Pell to 6 years behind bars for molesting 2 choir boys. Abuse survivors say Pell's 6-year sentence is not harsh enough. The 77-year-old is eligible for parole in less than 4 years.
You've got to remember, it's about the damage to the victim. It's not about the rehabilitation prospects of the pedophile.
Pell denies the abuse took place. His legal team plans to appeal the convictions. Pell had faced up to 50 years behind bars for 5 counts of child sexual abuse. Homeland Security officials are warning lawmakers about voting security. DHS Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Director Chris Krebs was scheduled to testify today before Congress. In his prepared remarks, he says there are significant vulnerabilities in the current system and that outdated systems need to be replaced. Krebs says President Donald Trump and the administration are committed to taking action, but that total government cooperation will be needed to properly address concerns. Let's head over to Wall Street now on this Wednesday afternoon. The Dow closes up today more than 148 points. Well, have you been having trouble using Facebook today? This was the message several people received when they attempted to log on Facebook. There was a worldwide outage this afternoon, and it particularly hit the U.S. and Europe hard. The outage seemed to affect those who were trying to log in on desktops. Of course, it did not take long for those on Twitter to create memes to mock the outage. In addition, some users reported Instagram was down as well. I had trouble posting on Facebook and Instagram just a few minutes ago. Well, straight ahead on First at 4, we'll have the latest on the college admission bribery scandal that has rocked elite schools and celebrities.
And the rain chances, storm chances, warm temperatures. There's a lot to talk about with this active pattern. We'll have the details in a few short minutes.
Just another way Window World separates from the other guys.
Every Window World window includes 3 separate warranties: the factory, good housekeeping, and our own lifetime transferable warranty that includes glass breakage. 1 window, 3 warranties. Our customers really find peace of mind in that.
Call Window World or visit us on the web today to set up your free, no obligation, in-home consultation.